the first T20 international, India needed to break a record in order to win. They weren't able to do it. In this case, again, a record needed to be broken if this match was to go in New Zealand's favour, which was the lowest total ever defended at Eden Park in Auckland. 166 was the previous record, and it was never going to be enough when they posted 158 after deciding to bat first. A canter in the end for India, 162 for 3. With 7 deliveries to spare, and I think it could have been even less than that had a couple of wickets not fallen. A good outing for Rishabh Pant, promoted up the order 1 spot from the last game, 40 not out of 28. And Rohit Sharma finally among the runs as a T20 international captain, also becoming the highest scorer in T20 international cricket. Sets it up beautifully for Hamilton, but for now let's just focus on this. Let's celebrate this, and of course celebrate the fact that finally, the men and women have decided to separate themselves, go their own way. The women came up short today, but that's a record you wanted to see broken, but a good clinical victory for India.
Yeah, well, since you mentioned won it at a canter, they didn't break a sweat. They probably could have scored another 20-25 runs quite easily, didn't have to push themselves. They look back at this game and say, good game, we won it. I mean, you never win games easily, but we won it fairly comfortably. It's amazing, isn't it? The same set of players played the first game in Hamilton with the second game in Auckland. What was difference? The difference was that India took wickets early. And just tells you, even in T20 games, why taking wickets is so important. I mean, if you'd only seen this game, you'd have said, I mean, India is so much better than New Zealand.
And the other thing is, of course, from a batting point of view, we'll discuss the bowlers as well, but for the two people who probably needed runs more than anyone else, Rohit Sharma wanted to prove a point. He did so, came out in style, and Rishabh Pant, luckily they did, or not luckily, they did put him at number 3, which was important for him.
Well, as far as batting was concerned, they were always in control. I think this whole game, India has always looked in control. The platform was set by the bowlers by having the target of 160 runs, which was well below par on this track. You know, the track has looked good. There was nothing much on offer for bowlers to really capitalize on. So considering all these things, I think it was just a matter of putting the head down for batsmen, going out there and doing the job.
We're going to, of course, wait for the player of the match that's going to be announced, but pretty much a toss-up between Rohit Sharma and Krunal Pandya, but you'd have to lean towards Krunal once again. Those wickets at the key point in time.
With 3 wickets.
50 for 4.
Yeah, 3 wickets in his first 2-3 overs that made the difference between, from what, 40 for 1 to 50 for 4? So I'd go there, because that was the primary reason New Zealand only made 160. And then, I mean, I know Rohit batted beautifully. His pulling of the front foot, we've been seeing it for how many years now? And yet every time he plays it was like that with Tendulkar's back foot punch. It was like that with Rahul Dravid hit through mid-wicket. You can see it 100 times, and when you see it the 101st time, you say, wow. When Rohit Sharma pulls that off the front foot, it doesn't matter how long the boundary is. It just soars over it. You can see it that many number of times. So you saw Rohit Sharma today, and you said every T20 game he has to open whatever colour he's wearing.
And I know sometimes we get a few exaggerated sounds off the bat when broadcasters make it sound even more. But when you hear it live, and that particular sound of the bat cannot be matched by any artificial sound.
I think with Rohit Sharma's batting, that's one thing which stands out, isn't it? He's got plenty of time, and the timing is something has been the hallmark of his batting, and he bats with quite a light bat compared to the power hitters which we have seen, but the power which is generated by this guy, it doesn't look like he's hit the ball hard, but that sound is a clear indication of how good the timing is and how much power is there behind the ball.
It's interesting. He bats a light bat.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
But the big debate last season, I know it's a long way to go for the IPL. The big debate last season.
No, there's no debate.
No debate?
There's no debate. There's no debate.
Are you talking about DRS?
No, I'm talking
He's
about
talking about where Rohit Sharma should bat. No debate. No debate. Rohit Sharma has to open the batting.
Has to, but he doesn't.
He will. No debate.
Fair enough. Okay, we put that
no
to
debate. I mean, there shouldn't. Okay, I'll come back. There shouldn't be a debate on where Rohit Sharma bats. Rohit Sharma has to open the batting. When you have one of the finest white ball players in the world, not one of the finest white ball openers in the world, just period, one of the best white ball players, and if he's one of the best openers, maybe beyond his generation, then of course he has to open.
I couldn't agree more. Not that he said much at that point in time. He was being
I'm
diplomatic.
focused on the World Cup. I'm focused on 50 overs.
Does not get more diplomatic than that. Okay, we'll leave it for that. Let's talk about the man who only one thing got ruffled for him, and that was the hairstyle getting slightly spoiled by the helmet, but otherwise impeccable from Rishabh Pant, just what he needed.
Yes, Rishabh Pant's the kind of person, if he scores once, he gets people talking. There's some players like that. Even if they fail 2 or 3 times, when they come good once, people talk about them simply because they have little presence around them. The kind of shots that they played was a very important innings for Rishabh Pant because his white ball form, 50-over ball, he's only played 2 innings. But his T20 international record bears no relation to the kind of player he is. He's averaging on 20 odd with a strike rate of 115, 117 something. So I'm glad he got these because he's put himself in the mix. I see him playing the 5 one-days against Australia, so that we have time at the end of those 5 one-days to decide whether he's got it in him to make the World Cup team.
Okay, we won't talk about Mumbai Indians. Let's talk about Rishabh Pant, the Delhi player. You saw him up close over there. How early did you spot that talent, which obviously is a cut above the rest?
Well, he certainly has got that X factor and power. That's something when you look at Rishabh Pant, the way he bats and the kind of power he generates from that back foot as well. Not many players have got that ability, and that's something which strikes out immediately when you see him bat. Yes, the numbers are going to follow. It's still early days for him. He's been a bit inconsistent in terms of going with form, but that will always be the case because he's someone who will always be going for those high risk options. So with Rishabh Pant, you'll always be talking about what a brilliant inning he has played, or that's not the shot he should have picked up. His shot selection should have been better. So that's something which will be the case with him, but he's got that X factor. When he's going to play those special innings, which is going to bail you out of situations. It's important that he covers that journey and gets that consistency also.
I remember that
more
day,
often than
you
not.
would have been there, of course. Him and Sanju Samson
Yeah.
in that IPL game, and everyone stopped what they were doing just to watch these two bat. And I'm a little disappointed. I thought by now Sanju Samson would be in the Indian team. He's so much ability, so much potential, but somehow you have to translate that into runs at the highest level, at the next level, through consistency. Rishabh Pant has managed to do that, but that performance that day, I think Sachin tweeted about it. Suddenly, Sachin woke from his social media slumber and tweeted about it, but it was that day you saw Rishabh Pant and you said, this kid's going to be special.
Yeah, and I remember at the end, not finishing on the winning side was... it was one of those things when...
Look, there you go. I don't even remember the
Missed out on 100. Missed out on 100.
I think they made light of a run chase. Might have been, I don't know. Yeah. But those two were just something else that day.
Coming back to the player of the match, it has gone to Krunal Pandya, and the last time India won a T20 international was at Sydney. Krunal Pandya, again man of the match.
So there you are. So he's cemented his place in the Indian T20 side.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
No, but so he won the previous man of the match in T20 as well.
Yes,
he's a seriously good T20 cricketer. I think he can be going ahead. If they had given him a break a few months ago, I think both brothers could have played 6 and 7, and then you could have had 6 bowlers every time, with Krunal and Hardik between them being 10 overs bowlers and batting 6, 7. That was a possibility. But in all fairness, Ravindra Jadeja got his opportunity and he's done nothing wrong. So I don't see him taking Jadeja's spot now because it would be unfair on Jadeja. He's done nothing wrong, Jadeja, and the chances that he's got.
Fair call there, but again we're talking about...
He's more a batsman than Jadeja, you think?
When you're talking about World Cup, and the squad is pretty much set right now, because you want the similar kind of players playing in the World Cup, leading up to the World Cup. But it's good to see that the backup of someone like Kedar Jadhav is also very strong.
Yes.
So when you're talking about World Cup, I think in terms of the bench strength as well, who are going to be part of those 30 probables for the World Cup, we have pretty much covered most of the things. We have likewise backup of players, and don't forget Akshar is also there.
Correct,
he had actually someone who's been part of the ODI side, got injured in Asia Cup, and Ravindra Jadeja has taken up that opportunity. So I think with this Indian team right now, there are players who are just waiting for the opportunity, and this healthy competition has resulted in in terms of numbers as well, which we've been seeing with regard to consistency?
I think you become number one not because of the 11 players on the park, but about the 15, 16 players just under them who are keeping these 11 on their toes all the time. And India's in a happy position at the moment of having replacements everywhere. And I don't think there's been a phase in our history where we said that about fast bowlers. I think there might have been a phase briefly towards the end of Srinath, arrival of Irfan, where there was Zach, there was Nehra, there was Srishant, there was a bit of Irfan, there was Ajit, there was Balaji. Yeah. There was Balaji. So that was the last time we had a reasonable base of fast bowlers. So there's the reason India is doing really well.
And of course, when you talk about a 9-match build up to those semi-finals, that's when you know that bench strength will count.
But it's only 15. It's interesting. I think most teams would have wanted 16 for a 9-match tournament, but it's 15. So you've got to pick very carefully because you cannot carry a single person there to make up the numbers. Every one of those 15 will be required at some point or the other to get a game. So 15 is very interesting for a long tournament.
We're going to come back to the build-up to that World Cup. We've got one more World Cup squad to be discussed today. But before that, let's look ahead to this final T20 international. Wellington went to New Zealand. Auckland has gone to India. And we're going to move to Hamilton for that final T20I from Seddon Park. And this is where India have a chance for that record 11th unbeaten T20 international series. So from both points of view, starting with India first. Again, a lot of talk about Kuldeep possibly making it in, but now that you've won, it's going to be tough to try and force him into that side unless you want to play 3 spinners.
Yeah, I mean, Kuldeep, if Kuldeep comes in, he comes in for whom? Does he come in for Karthik? Does he come in for Vijay Shankar? Because you can play Krunal at 6, Hardik at 7. So there is that kind of batting, but it's a fantastic record. I mean, I know some series are just 2 games, some are against teams that are not great. But 10 is a large number. That's why Pakistan is number 1. They've had 11 series without a defeat. So it's a fantastic run. But you'd expect that from a country that has the world's toughest, finest T20 league, wouldn't you? If you have players coming through the IPL, you'd expect the national team to be like that. Otherwise, it'd be like the Premiership, which on paper is the toughest, but doesn't produce the best national side.
Well, the Big Bash is not the worst. We don't see Australia quite performing the way they should perform.
Yeah, but is there a comparison at the moment? Well, not in size. In terms of quality of cricket, yes. It's just that the number of overseas players playing in the IPL and the best overseas players playing in the IPL just raise the standard there. And therefore, the younger Indian players are learning a lot from there. So I'm not belittling. I'm not saying IPL great, Big Bash, no. I'm saying there's a reason IPL is the most sought after tournament and you miss the dig at the Premiership.
Yeah.
Now, apparently 25% of the players in the Premiership are England qualified.
Yeah, well,
that's a West India company. Yeah.
Well, looking again at India's lineup for that final game, had India gone down today and it had been 2-0, very different story. The series is still alive. You want to go ahead and win the series no matter what preparation you're talking about. So you would reckon between all the players, Siddharth Kaul, Shubman Gill, the 2 people who wanted to get a game?
I don't think India is going to do any changes, and simply for the fact that Rohit Sharma, if at all had to do any changes, would have done in this game. He backed his squad. He said, okay, this is my playing 11. I'm going to back this playing 11 to deliver for me today, and they've delivered. So if he's not changed, looking at what happened in the first match, this is something which is a stepping stone to win the series. And today was a complete performance of sorts by the Indian team. So I think they would want to continue with the same squad. They've backed their batting lineup. So Vijay Shankar also provides that option of, if need be, to provide that bowling option as well. Looking at the last match, I think Rohit would want to back his playing 11.
Also, for many of the squad, it's been a long sojourn down under, both Australia and New Zealand. You really want to finish it on a high here.
Except for some who came back for the birth of their child. But yeah, for some of them who've been in the Test squad and in this, it's been actually, how many have there been? I don't think there've been such a lot, because Rohit came back. Shikhar wasn't in the Test team. Dhoni wasn't in there. Virat Kohli's had a break. So there weren't that many actually. Was there anybody at all? Bhuvneshwar?
Kuldeep Yadav?
Bhuvneshwar, Kuldeep.
Bhuvneshwar.
That's it really. It's amazing, isn't it, how different the team is from the Test side. Well, Rishabh Pant. But Rishabh came back. Rishabh didn't play the
ODIs.
Didn't play the ODIs in New Zealand. So.
Yep, fair enough. So that's what, as far as India is concerned, from New Zealand's point of view now, they'll, again, series is level. They didn't change the team as well from the first two games. So do you see any changes coming from their side?
I think Nisham might get a go
Yes.
ahead. Nisham or Bracewell, one of the two they'll pick for sure in place of Kugeline. You know, he's not looking that effective with the ball, and he's playing as a bowling all-rounder. So they'll have to find that answer in Doug Bracewell or
Isn't one change
James
forced
Neesham.
anyway? I think Lockie Ferguson was only for the first two games, right?
Yeah.
So if Lockie Ferguson goes, maybe that one space is opening up anyway.
Okay.
So maybe that spot, but I agree with you. I think Neesham has to
So
play for.
Tickner comes back?
So yeah, we don't know much about that, but yeah, Lockie Ferguson going again. The temptation. I know you've already announced it, but he's certainly been their best bowler. The way he got Shikhar Dhawan twice with a 148, 150 delivery. One was a Yorker and one was a short delivery.
It's quick. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the IPL this year, and I'm told that what New Zealand and West Indies are the two teams whose players are available for the entire IPL. So I'm looking forward to seeing him bowl because he's quick. There's no doubt, and there's something about fast bowlers that even with a moustache, that kind of moustache, there's something about the fast bowlers that makes you watch them.
Yeah, I didn't
like O'Shane Thomas. Remember we were sitting here watching O'Shane Thomas, and we said, "Oh, I want to watch every ball." So,
Oh, O'Shane Thomas is quick. He is seriously quick, and he's now in that West Indies Test squad. Hasn't made the 11 yet, but with Jason Holder forced out of that third Test match, he's most likely to get a go. But let's leave the West Indies for the moment. Let's come back to our build-up to World Cup 2019 and hashtag My World Cup Squad. We're focusing on South Africa today, and we're going to get all our experts to get their teams in. But first up, we're going to go centre stage to Simon Dool on the subject of fast bowlers. Let's see what his South Africa squad is.
Well, South Africa head into the 2019 World Cup with no concerns whatsoever over their bowling department and maybe their all-round department. It's just about the runs from my point of view. Quinton de Kock and Hashim Amla. I'm not sure whether Hamler's had enough runs in the last little while to really command a spot, but with his experience, he'll certainly stay there. Reza Hendricks has been given some opportunities lately. He'll be in that squad. Faf du Plessis, well, he's going to have to captain the side and captain them well from the front and pick up a lot of runs, I think, through that middle order. It's going to be tough for him. The other guys in this squad, I think you look at Rassie van der Dursen, David Miller, Aiden Markram will do the backup batting opportunities, I think, from a South African point of view. And then you get to their bowlers, who I think are outstanding. They've got a wonderful bowling lineup. When you look at the likes of Chris Morris, Pekla Kwayo, Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Ungiri, Dale Steyn, Imran Tahir, Dwayne Olivier will do that all-rounders role as well. Tabri Shamsi, if they don't want to play Tahir, then maybe they could look at Shamsi to play as well. So the bowling department, I don't think offers any worries at all from a South African point of view. It's just their batting. Will they get enough runs? We saw the heartbreak in the last World Cup here in New Zealand, right here at Eden Park, when Grant Elliott knocked them out of the World Cup and put New Zealand into that final. Can South Africa go one better? If they are to go one better, their batting has to stand up. It has to be on top of their game. But I think they have the seam bowlers to do the job if they get to that final of the World Cup.
You'd have to say, just having a look at that, you know, we talk about the four contenders for semi-final spots. Early days to talk about it, but with India and England being put by almost everybody in there, it's the next four slots that you'll have four countries competing for two slots rather, and South Africa very much in that mix. What interested in one slot over there from Simon Dool being a fast bowler, Dwayne Olivier, obviously very impressive in Test match cricket. Does he make the transition?
He's played one or two one-days. I think I saw one scorecard. We went for 73 in 10 overs, but everyone can have one game that goes the other way. It's just that with so many seam bowling all-rounders, I wonder whether they need an extra fast bowler.
Okay, so it's onus is on.
Well, I was leading into that.
Yes, go ahead.
No. The reason I said that was I've picked another seam bowling all-rounder. South Africa is the home of seam bowling all-rounders. You know, you go and dig somewhere and you get seam bowling all-rounders coming up. So I've also picked Dwayne Pretorius. So you'll find I've got Pretorius, Morris and Pekla Kwayo. I don't know if those three will get picked eventually because the three fairly similar. And if ideally one of them bats at 6, then you're all right. So you either play one or two of them. I've got JP Duminy because I'm told by my sources, who shall stay unnamed, but one of my source lives in Los Angeles and does a lot of commentary in South Africa, that JP Duminy comes back to cricket next week. He's had a shoulder surgery, so he comes back to cricket. The reason I want JP Duminy in my top 6 is, apart from the experience, there's also 4 or 5 overs there. Because South Africa have been playing 5 bowlers, with Pekluwayo batting at 7. They haven't had Morris all along. Morris has only been playing T20s, so either Pretorius or Pekluwayo, and then 4 bowlers after that. None of the top 6 bowl, which is rare for South Africa. So the reason I've got JP Duminy in that side is that he'll offer a bit of bowling, so I don't have Aiden Markram. I mean, I like Markram, but I don't, Van der Dusen?
Rassie van der Dusen.
Yes, Van der Dusen. He's made a lot of runs. So I've left out Aiden Markram from that side.
I don't think you could touch Van der Dusen, but your little hint about your source was a bit like a joy factor question with
Yes,
about 9 hints thrown in there, unlike today's question.
No, so my source was a tall, bespectacled South Australian who went to South Africa.
We got it a long time ago.
Who went to South Africa, married
Kept
Miss
wickets.
South Africa, married Miss South Africa, stayed on there, lives in Wetanga, Mike Hazeman, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know about the Miss South Africa bit.
Yeah, he married Miss South Africa, Leanne, yeah.
Okay, there you go. It's the one bit I didn't know about that. That's the one hint.
You don't have to feel bad, it's all right.
Neil McKenzie did as well, didn't he?
Yeah, might have.
Yeah, all right, there you go. Zach, your squad for South Africa, any different from this one?
Well, little different. Purely, I took a criteria of selecting that 5 quota players as well. Like,
Yes.
they're South African. When you're picking up South Africa squad, you have to think of your backups as well. That how you're going to replace if some injury happens or someone out of form. So that's something which I've taken into consideration. Dwayne Pretorius, I feel will get a go ahead because he'll be a backup for someone like Dale Steyn as well. Ngidi, even if he doesn't start, I have a feeling that Shamsi and Tahir both are going to be part of that playing 11, except for playing against the Asian countries. So that's something which will be a criteria for them. You've seen the success which Indian team also has with 2 wrist spinners, so they'll probably look to replicate that sort of a formula with them. Pekluwayo and Hendricks have been their 5th bowling option. So they've been contributing to finishing that 5th bowler's quota of overs. Klaasen has given a nod because of the backup for backup keeper. So
another point of discussion that's been there is about Chris Morris, always seen as a certainty in their T20 setup, and you've seen him up close.
Well, 2 names which will be discussed a lot is certainly JP Duminy and Chris Morris for sure. JP Duminy, if they have to go for the experience, I think they might take a chance with just going in with 1 keeper. So that's the option. So if at all JP fitting in that side, I think Klaasen will be missing out.
I had Klaasen in my side as well. But when they said that Duminy is going to be fit, I thought for the same reason, for experience. I thought,
one of the reasons why we wouldn't have put South Africa in that top 4 as a semi-final contender is the obvious absence of a certain AB de Villiers, and I mean,
I find that so weird. This is if South Africa were to win a World Cup, you never know what team they will have 4 years from now, but there's a lot of very good players who are not going to be around very soon after this World Cup ends. Dale Steyn, even though he's made a staggering comeback, Dale Steyn won't be around for that much longer. Duminy won't be around for that much longer. Amla, Duplessis has said the World T20 might be his last. I see Amla not lasting too much longer. So a lot of stalwarts are going out. So this could be that big final hurrah where all these wonderful players come together. And who's the brightest light of them all? Is AB de Villiers. I mean, you add AB de Villiers into that team, it looks like
who would have missed out? Let's debate that. If AB was there in this side, I think
Reza Hendricks might have missed out. Someone else would have batted at 3. Van der Dusen might have batted at 3. AB 4, Duplessis 5, Miller 6. Maybe Duminy would have missed out from the starting lineup.
Yeah, Van der Dusen was one of the guys who came in when they were trying to fill that void. But when you heard of this AB de Villiers retirement, what was your first reaction to it?
Well, too early, too soon.
Far too soon.
Far too soon. He's got plenty of cricket left in him. That's something which clearly is the case. He's too good a player just to play the T20s all around the world.
And have a look at it. This is what he's been doing in T20s after retirement.
Look at the last row. Strike rate of 170, 169.
Still got himself a T20 100 after that retirement.
I'll tell you why. There are some players who are so good who'll go around T20 leagues and produce numbers like that. It was less than 12 months ago. India were in South Africa just about 12 months ago. India in South Africa, Australia in South Africa, and those are spicy wickets. Those were not easy wickets to bat on, and he was changing matches in Test cricket. That means his faculties are still as strong as ever. If against good bowling sides on spicy tracks, he's playing match-winning innings.
Now, we've heard about this happen before. Is it still possible for someone to get in his ear and say, the country needs
They asked him that. They asked him that recently, and he said, I'm not so proud as to say I'll walk back whenever I want, but I think the South African selectors may not ask me. I mean, he suggested they won't, simply because he said he's announced his retirement. But I mean, AB de Villiers.
Yeah, we see people come out of retirement.
No, I think the 2015 World Cup has played a huge part. You know, that's deep down inside. I think the decision also has been an emotional one for him, and he was very clear about not going through that similar kind of situation again. Clearly, when he's made that call of going away from international cricket, he must have thought about all the possible things and what really.
Is he an emotional person?
He is.
He looks like that. Yeah.
Well, one person I can tell you who is contemplating retirement is Sharat Shetty, our champion Joy Factor, because we have a new winner. I can tell you that we have a brand new winner on today's Joy Factor question. Let's remind you of what the question was, and relevant, of course, to everything happening around the. Oh, there's AB in there somehow. We were talking about AB de Villiers. He's come into Joy Factor question. RCB and Gujarat Lions. T20 record 229-run partnership between de Villiers and Virat Kohli. We kind of gave part of it away, and it was pretty obvious that it had something to do with the bowlers. My feeling was that it had something to do with the bowler going for the most number of runs. I was wrong, and this is the answer. Maximum bowlers used by a team, 9 for RCB. Also, the maximum bowlers used in the match, overall 16. There were a lot of partial answers because we did say there were 2 related answers. And who's our champion winner? The answer is, it's Joy Bhattacharya.
I was wondering because I thought no one had won it.
Yes,
well done.
Joy Bhattacharya wins that. That's always the case of a good quiz master. Every time a question comes back to him, first thing they say is, I have won that. And I can suspect, if you tell Joy, and we did, that was going to...
It was about time Joy said a question that someone struggled with. I mean, the quality of responses that you get on Joy Factor is so good that Joy needed to sort of up the...
I think your hint has helped him.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah. But again...
Let's take little credit away from Joy. Let's steal his thunder a little bit. I thought it was related to the hundreds.
Yeah.
You know, I thought Virat Kohli scored quite a lot of hundreds in that season, and maybe that was one of the records, scoring maximum hundreds in one season. But I was wrong.
Can you imagine India suddenly saying we'll go to the World Cup without Virat Kohli?
Yeah, well,
why would you, right?
Or even was Virat Kohli saying that I'll go to the World Cup?
Yeah. I know for a fact that every team that comes up against South Africa at the World Cup would be saying, yes, man, no AB de Villiers in the side.
Yeah, and he'd probably be doing some kind of media work over there. And
I hope not. I hope not, because I have actually been at a match where someone from the commentary box has run out and gone to play. Because they had so many illnesses. I think New Zealand came to India.
In India,
New Zealand came to India in 18-9.
Jeremy Coney?
Yeah, they had five people sick after the rest day. I don't know what they were eating. Five sick after the rest day. And I'd gone to meet Jeremy Coney in the Radio New Zealand commentary box. And he said, just a minute. And next thing I see, he's running out to field at second slip. He fielded second slip, and the cameraman fielded at long leg.
It happened with the Indian team as well. In 2007, Ireland, we were playing the Tri-Series, South Africa, Ireland, India. We had to call Rakesh Patel as backup from England because he was the closest, playing some club matches there. And he's been called because there were 7-8 of us were down with fever. And we were struggling to make that combination. I had to pop up overdose of paracetamol and I was good to go.
The funniest story was the cameraman was fielding at long leg in a test match. The New Zealand news cameraman went and fielded at long leg in a test match.
That's interesting.
I'm just trying to imagine Gautam Bhimani is standing on the boundary for an interview and he just crosses the line. That would be the ultimate fantasy come true.
Crossing the line in a metaphorical sense or otherwise. Yeah, Bob Taylor as well, long time ago.
Yes.
Already retired, was asked to come in there. I think Bruce French got injured, if it was.
And then Bobby Parks came along, but he came in. So there have been some instances like that.
Mandeep Singh fielded for South Africa A in Chennai. So that was literally crossing the line. fielding for the opposition, but that's a discussion that can go on.
India have had fielders fielding for England in an unofficial test match in India. I think Hanuman Singh or Kripal Singh might have done that and taken a catch as well, but that was so many years ago.
Yeah, but that's okay. We still like to remember that. Maybe since we want all of you to get your World Cup squads in, if you have an interesting story on this topic, hashtag Cricbuzz Live, get your story in about a memory that you might have about an unexpected fielder. And don't talk about dogs and cats on the field, a genuine, unexpected human fielder on the field. And we'll try and put that up for you. And of course, a reminder that get your World Cup squads in. We've heard about South Africa from Simon Dool, Zaheer Khan and Harsha Bhogle today. Next up, of course, is going to be very relevant because in our last T20 International, we'll talk about hashtag My World Cup Squad for Australia. It'll be a nice build-up to the fact that Australia will be coming, minus Mitchell Starc, to play 5 one-day internationals and T20s as well. The final set of games for India before the 2019 World Cup. Thank you, gentlemen, once again. We'll see you Sunday morning again, back to the reverse time at 12 noon.
12 noon, okay.
12 noon on Sunday, which is going to be from Hamilton, India versus New Zealand. India with a chance for 11 consecutive unbeaten series. We'll see you then.